that way don't disturb anybody while I'm on tour. Also, if you really have to talk to the person next to you, I would appreciate it very much if you only would whisper, so that way you don't disturb the rest of the people on board the deck. Because after all, this is a narrated tour, right? Coming up here on the left hand, and all those condominiums, by the way, they've already been sold out, so you're too late. By the way, as we're driving through the city today, you're probably going to see a lot of cows, okay? On the finish line, by the way, that we're going to go over, just as up ahead of us, it's a yellow line across the pavement. Your friends back home get you across the finish line for the Boston Marathon race. Boy, you don't have to tell them on deck. And you don't have to tell them about 2 months late. In year 1773, before he went down to Boston Harbor and threw all that tea overboard, right? Because that was the Boston Tea Party. Right now we're coming into the outside because I always like to wave to him because he always waves to me. Now Phyllis Brooks was a real big person, was over 6 feet tall, weighed over 300 pounds. That's the Arlington Street Church, known for its beautiful stained glass. All the stained glass in that church was all done by Mr. Tiffany. Even Mr. Tiffany said one of his finest works inside that church because it's all original glass that was put in these buildings when the buildings were built, but was clear glass at that time because of imperfection of the glass itself would turn lavender with time. You see that flagpole in that bow window? That's where Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was married to Fanny Appleton. Was Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was a very famous poet. Fanny Appleton was the daughter of very wealthy Bostonians that lived over in Beacon Hill. Around the corner, which they did. And I'm sure that's something they would do for me also, I'm sure. Yeah. Right now on top of Beacon Hill, left-hand side, you can see our State House, on the red brick part of that State House, built by Charles Bulfinch in the year 1798, and the 2 L's they had later on during World War I. But if you look at the left-hand side where that can is, proximate side where John Hancock got his home. John Hancock was the wealthiest person in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, made his money the old-fashioned way. He inherited that money. Also was the first governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, also was the president of the Continental Congress when he signed the Declaration of Independence. Now he was, over the right-hand side, see another monument, there's a Robert Gould Shaw in the 54th Regiment, very important monument in the city of Boston. We ever saw that story, Glory, a few years ago on TV, depicted like Robert Gould Shaw in the 54th Regiment. On the left-hand side, see a statue of Mary Dyer. Mary Dyer was a Quaker in the mid-1600s, wanted to profess religious belief. In the year 1660, after they gave her 3 warnings, they hanged her there in Boston Common because she was a witness of religious freedom. The only crime she ever committed was believing in a different religion, and for that, she lost her life. Side of 122 Bowden Street on a 3rd coronation of November 1963. On the right-hand side, we're going to call Scully Square. Especially during the Second World War, a lot of soldiers and sailors used to love to come to this area for all the entertainment. A lot of theaters and bars and burlesque houses and dance halls in this area. It's all taken down for urban renewal. They built these lots coming off. Also the first we're going to talk a little bit more about this roadway. Matter of fact, we're going to bring it through the big tunnel over here in the city of Boston. Also, we're going to go on that big bridge here on the right-hand side. They get attracted to water. We showed you one of the incidents on board. Besides that, creates a lot of paperwork for Captain Courage. You'd be amazed how much paperwork it creates for me. When I lose a kid, oh boy, it's just terrible. So I have to wait till he gets out of the way up ahead of us. Would always like to ask the people on the deck, would you like a big splash? No. Would you like a big splash? You don't speak English? Well, you're going to enjoy this, by the way. I'm going to put down my picture, okay? Well, that was a big splash. Pretty good? Yeah. Only one word of warning. Please do not try this with your own automobiles. It could be very dangerous. If you decide to try to do with somebody else's automobile, it's a lot cheaper. I'm going to put my seat back a little bit over here. Thank you. Well, right now we're between 2 brand new parks. Over the left-hand side, that park is called National Street Park. On the right-hand side, it's called North Point Park, one of 5 new parks on along the water's edge. All these parks all being paid for by the Big Dig. This Big Dig is all done. We're going to be adding about 150 acres new parkland in the city of Boston. 100 acres of that's actually on Boston Harbor. There's an island out there called Spectacle Island. They bought a lot of films and Big Dig out there and made a big park. And by the way, the park just to stop all the Canada geese to come and eat all the grass, like they're doing over in the left-hand side. Up ahead of us, see all that granite work. That's the old Charles River Dam built 1908. Now, the reason they built this dam across this river over here in Boston, we have very high tides, around 9.5 feet. Twice a day, the waters come up the river and create a tidal basin over in the Back Bay. And people wanted to stop. That's the reason they built this dam. Now, if you look over the left-hand side, see the building all that glass. That's the Massachusetts General Hospital. Where they use ether for the first time in the performance of a surgical since 1811, by the way. Huh? What's that? Hospital? Yes, hospital. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go this way here. Yeah, it's been around since 1811, so they've been around for a long time. Back in the 1800s, people actually used to come here by boat because there used to be docks here by the hospital. They moved to the rollerblading and biking and jogging along the water's edge. And that park and the river and the dam is all managed by called it DCR, which is the Department of Conservation and Recreation. But they surely do a great job at managing that area. Now everything over in the right hand. By the way, this is the widest point of Charles River is right here. But during colonial days, this river is over a mile wide. So you can see how much land that it put in this area. Right-hand side, I'm ahead of us, you see that bridge is called the Harvard Bridge, and the Harvard Bridge goes from Boston to Cambridge. On the Cambridge side is where you're going to find an IT, and Harvard's just a little bit further upriver. They also call that bridge the Massachusetts Avenue Bridge. And if you happen to go across that bridge on the sidewalk, you're going to see some numbers, and those are measurements. Those measurements were taken back in the 1950s by a group of young men from MIT. But when they came over to measure the bridge, they put on their measuring instrument. Level like they were, and being determined like they were, they still measured the bridge. And the way they did that, the young man with him, his name was Smoot. Smoot was not too tall, but they took Smoot and they tipped him end to end all the way across the bridge. And when they got across the bridge, that's 364.4 underneath Smoot. So that's the official measurement of that bridge. When the rumors going around, they were partying that night, okay, but it's only rumors, that's really true enough. Well, we need some more right there, come on up. Thank you very much. Let's give the young man a nice hand for doing such a good job. Excellent. Watch the step on back.